Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the stream. I'm Blessed Spartan, or Blessed Josh, and we'll lower that music because it's not the intro music. And today is another Nooby Monday. I am sorry I am late. 2 weeks late because my girlfriend was going away to Cyprus and I had to give that week to her. So why would you do that? It's my birthday, guys! So if I get trolled like today by my family, don't be surprised. But today we have a special game between two noobs, two actual proper noobs. We have Imperial Guards versus Orcs. Right, so, and the map is going to be on Calderis Refinery. Now, Calderis Refinery is probably the most played map in Dawn of War 2. That's because it's balanced, and it's probably one of the most balanced maps in the game. It's very, very good for teleport commanders. You can kind of guess that by the way these victory points are placed. If you look up on the map, you can see that these victory points. In fact, let me just change the view so you guys can see bigger, because you're not supposed to be in tiny view, because you guys are not tiny people. You're not ants. Right. Alright then. Okay. So the way these victory points are laid out are in a complete line, and the reason for that is so well, basically it benefits setup teams and teleporting commanders. The reason for that is because these guys, teleporting commanders, can jump from each point to point. So Warp Spider Exarch, Chaos Sorcerer when he gets that war gear, and the Mech Boy, as you can see here, excel on maps like this. Points are also on raised ground, so I don't think there are any points other than victory points that are actually on low ground. So if you have a setup team, the best thing to do is usually put them behind these walls or behind this green cover. Lots of green cover that you can use on your approach. I think this is green, and I think that's green. I think everything except these little boxes are green cover, and this is yellow and stuff like that. But anyway, I shall introduce the players. Salsa! In the blue corner, we have Typhus. It's interesting, playing as a custom coloured Death Corpse of Clegg? Death Corpse of Clegg? Lord General. And we have ZHU, or ZHU, I was called Z, playing as the Orc Mech Boy. Gang members against the police. Let's do this! Right. So already, both players producing their characters, their units straight away. Shooter Boys from Z, which is going to help against the Sentinel, and we do see a Sentinel coming out for Typhus. It's always nice to say good luck, but that's from someone who's not actually playing the game. Rude players always say good luck, have fun before you start the game. That's one way to show you're not a noob, and that actually scares people actually if you do that. If you're silent, it means you're probably going to do something cheesy, or you're a very miserable player. Right. So let me just make sure everyone can see everything. Give me heads up if there are any problems. Alright, no. Okay, cool. Right, so already going to go for this PowerPoint. The main thing you usually want to do... Alright, so I'll pause here. Okay, so in my streams, guys, if you guys are new, I usually pause like... These aren't really kind of just normal live casts. These are... what Nooby Mondays is I do a stream, and I basically give advice to players. So I will be pausing so you guys can take notes and you guys can look and remember basic strategies and things like that. So you're probably wondering why the Met Boy is capping this victory point instead of his requisition point. That's because he's a teleport commander, and as I said, he excels on maps like this. So that's one of the main things you want to do, especially if it's a Warp Spider X or any teleporting commander, is get the victory point first, and then either harass over here or teleport to the next victory point, and that will put you ahead. Mech Boys, obviously, they excel. Mech Boy commanders excel at map control just because they can get across the map very quickly and harass other camping units like these guardsmen. So take note of that. So he might either go for this point over here, that's what I would usually do, or he'll cap this one over here, which I don't think he should do since he has his shooters over here anyway. He's getting a second shooter squad, and here they come. So we have another guardsman squad coming out. Well, the only thing I would say is that he's not doing is pressuring enough, and that's a text. So he's come over here just to look for a squad that wasn't there. He's probably going to go to the opposite side now, but he hasn't spotted these two shooter boys which are coming up from the right. Probably going to hit this power. Now, defending on your power on this map is actually quite difficult because your main natural points are all on the opposite side, and your natural power is down here. So what I find to happen to me is that I'll send my squads over here, and then I'll leave my power like vulnerable. So you've got to be kind of careful. The best thing you want to do is kind of come here, send your captain squads either up here and over here. Right, so we have, these guys aren't in green cover, that is in green cover, however cover is directional, so right now the only one having cover is the Lord General. He has flanked these shooter boys who are being shot, which is why they're taking increased damage, so they need to get out. They're taking 4 models off the 5, and this Met boy is going to teleport in and force melee on these guardsmen who actually haven't been upgraded with the hero. Somehow this Sentinel took huge amounts of damage, and usually, when you see good players using Imperial Guards, in fact let me lower this sound because it's actually increasingly loud. When you see good players using Imperial Guards, they'll usually try and keep the Sentinel alive, and they will do a good job. If you can keep the Sentinel alive into tier 2 and even tier 3, well mostly tier 2, tier 3 doesn't really matter, then you'll have a huge advantage. The Sentinels are extremely difficult to kill, but also just as hard to keep alive, because bad micro can get them killed. So these guys have lost quite a lot of models. Shooter boys are coming back out now, and that Lord General with his weird funny head helmet, look at that, what is that? He's got a fin on his head. It's like a Roman Greek thingamajiggy. And we see a setup team coming out. Setup teams are unique in the fact that they have a sustained amount of fire, but also they take, so basically these guys suppress, okay, these are called it's a heavy bolter squad, which you can see, you can tell they suppress by the little bolts there, or the little guns shown in 3. That it usually means the suppression, that means the squad has suppression. However, setup teams require time to set up, about 2 seconds, I think it usually is 2 seconds to set up properly, and they can only fire in a certain arc, so you do want to be careful when you're setting up. You don't want to set up too close to any kind of melee squad or any squad in for that, because once they're forced melee they lose their ability to set up, and I either have to retreat or get support until they can reset up again. So as they set up, suppressing, this is fake, shooting through the walls, just be aware of that. Obviously the map designers didn't put a block thing. Anyway, you guys don't know map design, so I ignore that. Right, so it's really good for setup teams to sit up here because it's on the high ground. So squads like Sluggers, Hormagaunts, Heretics, they have to climb up a hill basically, and that's usually very tiring for them. Hence why they'll get shot on approach, and it's very damaging and suppressing. Morale damaged. So we do see Storm Boys coming out to counter the setup team. A good choice by Zedu. These guardsmen, I think a guardsman squad actually went down over here, like I missed again, wasn't even watching, and you can see by the little red marks that came up earlier. This Sentinel still hasn't been repaired, less than half health. Battle going inside the middle. Met Boy quite half health is up actually. I mean, has the setup team behind that green cover, which means they're not going to take much damage from range fire. However, they're actually not shooting. I don't think he can actually see him yet. No, he probably can't see him, hence why the squad's not firing on that team. Firing on that mech. You have a really bad asthma pump playing. And there you can see the Sentinel has seen him, which means he will take fire. This guy needs to get out of here now. Probably should have teleported out and then retreated. That's one of the things you usually want to do. We do see War being activated from these Sluggers, which you can see by the yellow buff. A bit premature since the squads weren't even actually in range to use that. And he's sending in his Sluggers first. Storm Boys are behind, so these guys are going to take in huge amounts of unnecessary damage. However, they do manage to flank, but here again, they're not focusing down the... So there's another mistake. These guys weren't first of all, as you guys can see, these guys were charging forward, taking unnecessary losses. When they got out of the firing arc of the heavy weapons team squad, they didn't focus their attention on them. They just left them, and these Storm Boys jumped the team, but didn't melee either. So basically, Typhus has won this engagement. Although he's been forced to retreat, he's taken losses off the Sluggers, and he hasn't taken any losses himself. So that's just attrition and money that Zedu will have to buy back once he retreats that squad. And this Sentinel is obviously at optimum range, which means these guys are going to take quite a bit of damage. So you take quite a bit of damage from the Sentinel without Sentinel being endangered at all. Bigger shooters on the shooter squad, which is actually very effective against Sentinels. Still has to be repaired, but we do see Catachans coming out for Typhus. Catachans are the Imperial Guards melee counter. They have two abilities, well, three abilities if you want to count the sergeant. The three abilities, the smoke. I'll pause here. They have the abilities called the smoke, which basically prevents incoming damage, but I don't think outgoing damage is affected. They have the grenade barrage, which you can see with the grenade launcher dude there, which can knock back enemies at range, and they also have the shotgun blast, which is similar to the scout shotguns, which knocks back units in close proximity. And this Sentinel is in extreme amounts of trouble, hasn't got a stomp, which means he won't be able to stop this many squads. This setup team is in huge amounts of trouble, needs to retreat right now. These shoot boys do take huge amounts of damage as well, but these Catachans aren't focusing their fire, and this heavy battle squad does go down. Unfortunate loss there. What Tyfish probably should have done is, as soon as the squad was jumped, move them away and then retreated. You usually don't want to retreat while you're still set up, is because units that retreat in close combat take 30% more damage from close combat weapons. Hence why that squad went down so quickly. Eating and playing is like I do that all the time. It's not good. But this Sentinel is just chilling in base, hasn't got any repairs. Guardsman squad went down without me noticing somewhere. So that's not good at all for Typhus. Typhus needs to be careful. He's got his Catachans here actually to support. Didn't actually see them amongst that group, which means these Slugger boys are going to have to get out. They haven't been upgraded with Endor because he's not tier 2, and we do see a second heavy weapons team coming out. Now what you'll see, Typhus purchases a lot of heavy weapons teams in this game, because he actually loses quite a lot of squads. Late drop on his power, had quite a few resources. Heavy weapons teams are unique in the sense that not only can they be upgraded in tier 2 without much bother, without having to purchase another squad, they can also repair. So they can repair vehicles like Sentinels. Aiming what's that? Use on these Catachans, which means they're going to be suppressed, which you can see with red bar, but they're suppressing again on these Storm Boys, taking huge amounts of damage in the firing art, not getting out of the firing art, need to be careful, need to retreat, losing huge amounts of models. The squad actually might go down. If he focuses attention on that squad, it will go down, and there it goes. That is a dead squad. Huge loss for ZU, completely unnecessary as well. Just not jumping, not kind of scouting, not scouting where this heavy weapons team is, or kind of judging the distance or the firing arc that it has before jumping. And I see loads of players do that, where they kind of jump like, yeah, I'm gonna kill him, and they jump directly into the firing arc of the squad. So somewhere in that, the Met Boy did go down, probably while this squad was getting focus fired. Trying to decap this point, went down to the Catachan's hero and Guardsman. Guardsmen have yet to be upgraded with a sergeant, and here he comes, only now becoming on the fields, flowing quite a lot of resources, could even buy another Guardsman squad to deal with this. Meanwhile, this Sentinel is bashing, or destroying these generators. After a victory like that, the main thing that he should have really done was push towards these generators and put huge amounts of pressure. He had most of the map control to himself, could have pushed, even set up a turret from the Guardsman just to put some pressure on Zedu and keep him, take down his generators. However, a Death Dread is coming on the field. Walker unit, no, it's not unique. Walker unit of the Orc Army, quite cheap. I think it's 300 requisition and 65. Someone might be able to correct me, I'm not too sure. It's incredibly cheap. Can be upgraded to have burners instead of bigger shooters on its side. And this Lord General needs to probably go behind green cover, but doesn't have to retreat actually. Take a huge amount of fire on the Lord General himself, hence why the other members haven't gone down yet, but they will go down to other squads' fire if they stay in battle too long. Sentinel now amongst these shooters tries to stomp, does get a stomp off, but needs to be very careful. Going to take a rear hit from the Death Dreads. Now the Sentinel is a vehicle, which means it counts as a vehicle, but it has, I think, heavy infantry armor, which means weapons like las cannons, rocket launchers will still have full accuracy. However, it can still be damaged by light weapons fire. And that Lord General escaping with 8 hit points. If he had focused it down, it might still go down. Probably is going to go down. No, it escapes with 1 hit point. These shit boys not focusing it down.